there's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
There are people who are so rabidly homophobic, and I just find that fascinating. It's as if you met someone who was absolutely spent all their life trying to get rid of red telephones. You go, what? You would not understand it. Why would someone bother to attack a group of people who mean and do them no harm?
This is a series about gay people and the trouble people have accepting them. Over the last 2 years, when time allowed, I travelled to meet some of the most notorious homophobes on the planet.
Signor Deputado, Stephen Fry?
To challenge their prejudice and to find out where their hatred comes from.
Gay people, most of them are lying about their problems.
You're really not making any sense, Deputy. You really aren't. Homosexuality is fantastic. You should try it.
I will arrest you. I will arrest you.
But when your penis is terrorizing
my
someone...
penis isn't. My penis doesn't do that.
I also had a chance to meet some of the people who are victims of this prejudice, as well as those fighting against it.
I never feel to sleep with a woman. It's a yuck. I'm born a queen.
Só que eu nunca imaginei que o não vir do meu filho para casa, que ele estivesse morto.
Of course, this matters to me because I'm gay. But homophobia impacts on all of us. It diminishes our humanity, and you can find it all around the world.
Quite simply, this is about love, commitment, and mutual respect.
It's extraordinary to think that after 200,000 years on the planet, humankind is still struggling with how some of us love. Even here in Britain, gay love and marriage still give rise to some very heated debate. I've already visited parts of Africa where the solution put forward about gay people is to kill us. And I've been to America where some think we can be cured. In this film, I want to know about the future and what the countries that will be the powerhouses of tomorrow have in mind for the next generation of gays. I'm heading south to Brazil, a country that in just 25 years has gone from widespread discrimination against gays to full legal equality with its straight citizens. The city of Sao Paulo hosts the world's biggest gay pride parade. Four million people, gay and straight, joined in celebration of rights that were once unimaginable. The future for the next generation of gay Brazilians looks dazzlingly bright, thanks to the lights of João Silvério Trevisan, who was amongst the first to stand up and fight.
Imagine you are 20 years old, and I was to put you in a time machine and take you to this event. You would not believe it, would you?
I could not believe.
I mean, it makes me cry. When I stood on the float and I saw all the people, it makes me cry. And they were jumping up and down.
I always
and
cry.
singing. And it just makes you so proud, so happy.
So happy. I'm very happy too.
Yeah.
I'm very, very
It's
happy.
really beautiful.
I fought all my life for my right of loving. And when I see these, I feel like part of each one.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's truly fantastic. You're a hero.
You're a real hero.
And I admire you so much.
Me too.
So much. planet who hates pop music played loudly, people gathered together in damp, unpleasant conditions, being physically tactile. It's me. I would rather have my liver sucked out through my nose than go to Glastonbury. And an event like this is usually the kind of thing I would most hate. And it's not just my own gay pride that makes me love this. There is something quite remarkable as an atmosphere. I don't think a camera or a microphone can capture it, but I do think that the future lies in people coming together like this, not to protest, but to celebrate.
But the Pride Parade conceals a darker side to gay life in Brazil. The sheer speed of progress here has given rise to an anti-gay backlash where a gay person is murdered every 36 hours. Before the evening's parties begin, I'm dropping in on Brazil's most glamorous drag queen, Renata Perron, who's paid her share of the price of progress.
One day, you were crossing the Praça República, and a terrible thing happened. Can you tell me about that?
Por volta das 23 horas, no final de semana, numa sexta-feira, eu estava atravessando a Praça da República e fui atacada por 9 caras. A princípio não se sabia se eram skinheads ou se eram punks. Sei que eram jovens, rapazes entre 18 a 22 anos. Eles me viram, partiram para cima de mim e deram um chute com uma bota que tinha uma placa de ferro. Bateram aqui assim, mas foi o suficiente para estourar um rim. Então hoje eu só tenho um rim, né, como diz.
Many people would never go out alone again. They would retire into a small, like a snail, into a shell. But you've done the opposite. You've come out like a butterfly.
Casos como esses que aconteceram comigo são cotidianos, não é um caso único, específico comigo. O Brasil inteiro está repleto de muita homofobia. Então, precisa que uma pessoa sofra uma agressão como essa para que ela tome consciência da sua importância enquanto ser humano aqui e comece a lutar. A minha arma para lutar contra o preconceito é cantar, é levar a alegria para as pessoas.
This is your answer to the violence and the homophobia that you were the victim of.
Sim. Que eu não saísse de casa depois disso, mas eu sou guerreira.
Right.
Eu coloquei uma belíssima peruca, fiz um make-up e saí louca, voada, pra rua, com 15 dias depois.
Wow. Beautiful.
Você é muito simpático, gostei muito de você. Pensei que era uma pessoa...
Oh, thank you. You're too kind. See, my trouble is I'm too lazy to be a drag queen, as well as too ugly.
Não, mas não existe gente feia. Só existe pessoas mal maquiadas.
I've always loved drag queens. It's one of the, if you like, sort of surprising things to some, is that those who are the most femme, those who glam themselves up and are more than camp, they're actually feminine in their dress and their attire, are probably the most courageous of all the gay community. Historically, it was the drag queens who fought the police at Stonewall that began, kick-started really the gay liberation movement. It's, I suppose, the daily act of walking down the street in drag makes them often be at the very forefront of the strongest and most angry reactions against homophobia. It's bound to happen. Are you ready? Pronto? Okay, let's go and do the final bit of zhuzhing. I'm coming, my darling. I'll just do your arm.
Sim, por favor. Devagar.
Yeah.
Oh,
my goodness, is that for me?
Sim, claro.
Thank you. It goes with my Norwich stroke Brazil.
Uma drag queen brasileira agora.
Oh my God. You think? I look like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. Mind your heels.
After all its triumphs, the fight for gay rights has once again stepped into the political arena, and this time Brazil's children are at the center of the debate. A fierce battle has broken out over a new law which proposes to outlaw homophobia and to educate teenagers about the damage it causes.
Your own personal Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers.
I've come to Rio to meet Congressman Jair Bolsonaro, who's determined to block this law, and along with his supporters in the religious and conservative right, bring an end to the advances of the gay rights movement.
Hear your prayers. Someone who's there.
This at a time when anti-gay crime is on the rise in the city.
Reach out and touch faith.
A year ago, on the streets of this Rio suburb, a 14-year-old boy called Alexandre Ivo was abducted by skinheads as he returned home alone from a party.
Reach out and touch faith.
What followed was a hate crime that shook the entire country and changed his mother's life forever.
Angelica?
Oi.
Stephen.
Prazer. Boa noite.
Prazer. Hey. You can smell him. He's still here.
Aí a gente, às vezes eu tô com muita saudade, aí eu venho pra buscar o cheirinho dele. Hoje é o que eu tenho de Alexandre. Aí não tem como me desfazer. É o que eu tenho. Não vou achar o cheiro dele em mais nada. Só aqui mesmo. Só aqui. Meu bebê.
Yeah.
Alexandra was out with gay friends when the gang first spotted him. Angelica believes they targeted him simply because he looked gay.
Né? E aí a gente se depara com o falecimento dele e vem a identificar que o falecimento dele se deu por preconceito, por intolerância, né? Por homofobia. Primeiro que ele era um menino que estava saindo da infância e entrando na adolescência. Ele não tinha preocupação nenhuma quanto à questão de orientação sexual.
And then one terrible night, almost a year ago, he was taken away.
Quando ele está retornando para casa, aí eu falo com o que foi levantado pela polícia, e aí meu filho foi sequestrado, foi torturado mais ou menos durante 2 horas. Ele foi torturado fisicamente, psicologicamente. Ele foi agredido de todas as formas que vocês possam imaginar, né? E não satisfeito com total agressão que eles cometeram com meu filho por mais de 2 horas. Isso falado pelo legista, que fez o exame cadavérico dele. Eles enforcaram meu filho com a própria camisa dele. Só que eu nunca imaginei que o não vir do meu filho para casa, que ele estivesse morto. Porque eu tive que ir na casa onde aconteceu a festa. Eu tive que ir no local onde largaram o corpo do meu filho, que eu tratei, que eu cuidei, que eu nunca quis que ninguém machucasse. Até chegar ao ponto de entender o motivo que para mim não tem motivo. Entendeu? Que o meu filho era uma criança, mas que ele fosse adulto, que ele se vestisse de outra forma. Ninguém tem que tirar a vida de ninguém por nada, por nada. Aí aqui tem ele. Aqui. Ele, isso. Ele aqui. E aí aqui ele tá aqui atrás, dançando a valsa com a irmã. Aqui.
Yes. So young, so very young.
The 3 men accused of murdering Alexandra were never prosecuted. Had anti-homophobia laws been in place, things may have been different.
What do you say to people like the politician Jair Bolsonaro? He thinks that gay people should shut up and that he doesn't believe that homophobic crime is a serious matter.
E ele que teria que me explicar o porquê que meu filho sofreu essa violência. Eu queria saber se ele teria palavras para justificar o que o meu filho sofreu. Que eu mereço a justiça e que eu mereço a lei da homofobia para fazer justiça no caso do Alexandre.
Yes. Thank you for opening your heart and the life of your son and your home for us. It means a great deal to me. Thank you.
My last stop in Brazil is to meet Rio Congressman Jair Bolsonaro, the politician who is blocking the proposed anti-homophobia law and education program.
Senor Deputado, Stephen Fry?
Sim.
Nice to
A
meet you.
number of right-wing Christian groups support him in this, including some neo-Nazi groups. Though it may be a struggle, I'm determined to keep my cool with him, so I can try to get to the bottom of why he feels so threatened by homosexuality.
Whoa! Very beautiful.
Fantastico.
Wonderful.
Lindo, see, wonderful.
Palácio
Yes.
de Buckingham.
I'm sure you remember the case of Alexandra, who was killed, 15 years old, and he was tortured. And the police and everybody involved in the case believes it was a case of a homophobic attack. Seems to me there is something deeply wrong in Brazilian society, that such hatred, every other day, apparently, there's a homophobic killing in Brazil.
Inclusive, grupos querem usar este assassinato, que por vezes pode até não ser por questão da opção sexual dele, mas se inclui na opção sexual porque passa a ser uma bandeira para grupos homossexuais, dizendo que matam e executam, mas eles não querem discutir. Então não tem essa causa toda para se causar esse clamor popular. Não existe esse clamor popular aqui. Não existe homofobia no Brasil. A maioria dos que morrem, 90% dos homossexuais que morrem, eles morrem em local de consumo de drogas, em local de prostituição ou executados pelo próprio parceiro. Eu entrei nessa briga aqui, dita aí dos gays, tá? Tendo em vista a proposta do governo em querer distribuir nas escolas públicas do primeiro grau, né, um material didático que seria para combater a homofobia, mas na verdade estimula o homossexualismo em criança. Não é questão, é questão de normalidade.
It's interesting you use the word normal. I have a great interest in zoology. There are 480 species of animal that exhibit homosexual behavior, but only one species of animal on Earth that exhibits homophobic behavior. So which is normal?
Tua cultura é diferente da nossa. Agora, nós não estamos preparados ainda, no Brasil, porque nem um pai, nem você, nem eu, tem orgulho de ter um filho gay. Orgulho, prazer, fazer festa, porque apareceu um filho gay na
If
família.
the child is happy. You see, the only reason they may be unhappy is because they know there's homophobia in society and therefore their child may be bullied. But if the world is not homophobic, then why should a parent worry?
Você tem que ter um norte na tua vida, que quer que os heterossexuais continuem gerando crianças, para que essas crianças se transformem em gays e lésbicas, para satisfazê-los sexualmente no futuro. Então esse é o exemplo da sociedade brasileira, que está sendo plantado aqui agora por esses grupos que eu chamo de fundamentalistas homossexuais.
I have never, ever wanted anybody to be gay who is not gay. Ever. I think that's the most absurd idea. I also happen to be English. I don't want people to be English. Phobos is the Greek for fear. Homophobia is fear of gay people. I wondered how in a society, why people should be afraid of gays.
Não gostar não é a mesma coisa que odiar.
No. No, it's
Vocês
fear.
não gostam dos talibãs.
No.
Tá ok? Nós não, o povo, a sociedade brasileira não gosta de homossexual. Nós não perseguimos, não existe grupos aqui no Brasil de caça de homossexuais. É bastante aberto no Brasil. Não somos o Irã. Não se condena a pena de morte, né, os homossexuais. Tanto é que tem passeatas de orgulho gay. Estamos pensando em fazer uma passeata do orgulho hétero. Pensamos fazer isso aí, inclusive.
Yes, you should.
Sem problema.
You should.
Você não será convidado.
Absolutely.
Você não será convidado, mas você vai.
I should be invited.
Você vai.
No, I should be invited.
That must rank amongst the strangest and most chilling encounters I've ever experienced. Bolsonaro is typical of homophobes I've met all over the world, with their mantra that gays are out to take over society, recruit children, or abuse them. Even in a progressive country like Brazil, their lies create hysteria amongst the uneducated, from which violence can grow, that can end in brutal attacks like the one that killed Alexandra Eva.
One can clearly see that it was a homophobic crime, which makes the politicians' shrug of the shoulders all the more appalling to me. Because yes, while it's true that there are always going to be murders, there are some sorts of murder that you can deal with. You can get rid of hate crimes, and you do it by education, by just showing people. It's quite simply much easier to be gay if you live in an area of a city that is full of educated people, because educated people aren't filled with hatred towards gay people. It's as simple as that. You only hate when you're ignorant and you're afraid. And ignorance and fear is fostered by a lot of things. Poverty is one. I'm afraid I'm going to have to come out and say I think evangelical Christianity is another. I think fundamental religion is very much, it's part of its agenda to encourage ignorance and a very narrow education which has often very unpleasant things to say about gay people. I hope if these films do anything, it is they reinforce the fact that behind every statistic there is a beating human heart.
While Brazil should certainly celebrate her progress, she should also be vigilant. Because if history has taught us anything, it's that progress can be reversed. Russia decriminalized homosexuality back in 1993 at the end of the Soviet era, but now it appears to be regressing. The government is becoming increasingly conservative, while the Russian Orthodox Church has become the most powerful institution in the country. So it's no surprise that homophobia is rife. Nationalist and religious extremists are thriving. And in a recent poll, 50% of Russians said they feel disgusted by homosexuals. Now, even the law is beginning to target gays, beginning here in St. Petersburg.
Well, St. Petersburg always used to have the reputation of being the most liberal and advanced city in Russia. Tchaikovsky, Diaghilev were amongst its most famous citizens, both of whom were gay. And then, just a few years ago, a law was enacted which made it illegal to promote homosexuality to minors, which is an almost impossible thing to control as a law. Everybody agrees that forcing people under the age of consent to try and go one way sexually or another, or indeed to groom them for sexuality, is a completely separate and absolutely correct crime. But not to educate the young in the possibilities of sexuality, especially those growing up with a feeling they might be gay, is to store up terrible trouble.
man behind the new law is the deputy of St. Petersburg, Vitalij Milanov. He believes he can prevent a new generation of Russians from becoming gay by banning so-called gay propaganda. It's created an impossible situation for gay parents here who could now be accused of promoting their homosexuality to their own children.
It's just right here.
Oh, slippery.
Russian winter, you always need to be careful.
Olga, a local activist, has arranged for me to meet some of those living with the fallout from the law.
Добрый
Hello.
день. Hello.
Hi. Whoa, nice and warm. I should take my hat off.
Irina and Olga have been together for 12 years and each have one child from previous relationships, 20-year-old Daniel and Christina, who at 16 is still considered a minor.
According to this new law, every day you are breaking the law by promoting homosexuality to Christina.
Не только даже ей, но и ее друзьям. Говорит господин Милонов, который говорит, что семьи геев и лесбиянок — это извращенцы, а их дети еще худшие извращенцы, их надо всех пожалеть. Вот. Это очень оскорбительно, и дети, кстати, очень тяжело переносили, особенно Тина. Вот это все, это очень неприятно было.
Does it actually seriously worry you that the day may come when you as a family are threatened by this new law?
Ну, мы все равно, конечно, мы боимся, потому что не знаешь, что будет дальше, как бы, дальше в стране и что будет происходить, потому что агрессия даже на улице, она, в принципе, растет.
Мы сейчас в сложном таком периоде, я думаю, историческом находимся.
Просто ты не знаешь, могут ли тебя завтра посадить за что-то или нет.
Living as children of gay parents has affected Daniel and Christina, though not in the way some of you might expect. They are both happy and they are both straight. So much for gay propaganda.
Ну, я думаю, что это глупость какая-то. Ну, то есть, я не очень понимаю вообще этот закон, в принципе. И когда я встречаюсь с какими-нибудь гомофобными людьми и начинаю общаться на эту тему вообще всего, то есть рассказывать про геев, потому что они начинают нести полную чушь, и если они вспоминают этот закон, то я их начинаю спрашивать, видели ли они вообще людей на улице, которые стоят и «Ой, здравствуй, вот мы геи, не хотели бы вы к нам присоединиться?» и...
Yes, it's absurd.
Absurd as it is, the impact of this law shouldn't be underestimated. 1 in every 4 gay teens here has attempted suicide, yet it's now illegal to offer them information or support. I'm dropping in on a group called Coming Out, which was set up to do just that.
Aha.
But now its days could be numbered.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
Olga.
So I would like to meet Dara and Maxim.
Daria, hello. Maxime, hello. Do you find life difficult at your age, being gay? Have you had a bad experience of it, each of you?
Наверное, самый печальный мой опыт был, когда на тот момент я был очень открытым человеком, то есть я всем рассказывала о том, кто я. Обо мне прознали такая группа людей наших прекрасных, как нацисты. Причем достаточно резко настроенные. Они устроили мне темную вечером, уже очень поздним вечером. Я возвращалась домой через парк, около своего дома. На меня напали 12 человек с битами, с ножами, в масках. Меня избили, меня очень серьезно ранили. Причем ранение в живот было очень серьезное. Я пролежала очень долго в реанимации. Меня пытались тогда после этого еще один раз те же самые националисты поймать. Один из них в подъезде меня подкараулил этот человек, в подъезде моего дома, и пытался меня изнасиловать. кричал, ты просто настоящего мужика не знала, там, в общем, ну, все стандартное, вот все эти фразы, они настолько стандартные, настолько избитые.
Did you try and ask the police to catch these people? Were the police interested, or were they just as homophobic in a sense as the gang?
Я обращалась в полицию, я пришла, я сказала, что вот так и так, на меня было совершено нападение. Выслушали, и после слов о моей ориентации мне сказали, иди-ка ты, девочка, погуляй лучше.
I just wondered if you were, in a sense, ashamed of your country. You have a leader who talks about people like you as if you are freaks and have no rights. In the 21st century, does this make you angry and ashamed?
Все мы знаем то, что в нашем очень странном российском обществе есть такая прослойка людей, которым необходимо кого-то ненавидеть.
Мне действительно, мне не то, что даже стыдно, мне просто обидно за свою страну. Но когда я вижу то, что творят наши политики, мне просто плакать хочется от досады, от обиды. Чем дальше, тем хуже, ни в какие рамки совсем уже не лезет.
I'm sure there isn't a gay person in the world who doesn't know what it feels like to be threatened because of your sexuality. But it makes my blood boil to think that in a modern city like St. Petersburg, the police will do nothing to protect you, while Deputy Milanov, who's also training to be a priest, sanctions their behavior.
Makes me respect Daria and Maxime and other kids like that for their bravery and their courage in coming out and in helping others come out, because they live in perpetual fear of getting beaten up, of getting physically threatened. It's a real fear, and it's one that's endorsed by politicians. It's just very, very sad that such a beautiful and extraordinary culture should be in the hands of that mixture of nationalists whose knuckles graze the ground and hypocritical priests who dare to presume to tell the world how to act on the basis of what? No extra knowledge, no extra insight, just authority to take on themselves.
I've just learned that Milanov is willing to meet me, maybe flushed by the news that his anti-gay propaganda law is about to be rolled out across all Russia, a country I happen to be rather famous in.
Hello.
And perhaps sensing an almighty row, the media is out in force.
I'm very happy to talk to you, but after I've spoken to Deputy Milanov, if you don't mind. You're right there. I have an appointment and I don't want to keep him waiting. That's really not the most convenient time to do that, but I'm happy to. Look at Putin, look at Dobby the house elf, and remember that's all he is, he's a little house elf. Wish me luck. Thank you. Hello. Now, you mustn't make me late for Deputy Milanov. I'm following. Who am I following? Through here? Hello. Hello. Here we are. Come through. Deputy Milanov. Very good to see you. Thank you for giving me your time. I wondered, Deputy, if the first thing you could do is just explain to me, because these things get complicated when people report them and then report them again, exactly what it is that you have made a law here in St. Petersburg. What is now illegal that used to be legal?
What is illegal is uncontrolled public statement forming the incorrect impression about social equality of same-sex and traditional families. We also can speak about some historical figures.
So you're not allowed to say that say, Tchaikovsky's sexuality was anything to do with his talent. That would be breaking the law.
No.
Even if the fact that Tchaikovsky was unhappy about being gay, and it gave him the conflict that is in his music.
It's a crime to tell kids that only this way of living made him so talented.
Nobody would say that. But what they might say, Deputy, they might say is, look, you're 15, 16-year-old, you're being bullied, but don't worry, there were some great men who achieved great things who had the same sexuality as you.
We would be quite unhappy in case some inadequate individual would invade kindergarten trying to explain to minors that they should identify their sexual identity.
They don't invade kindergartens and tell children to have their sexual identity. That is absolute nonsense. You're inventing a ridiculous enemy to get support, so that ignorant people will imagine there is this terrible threat to children. The real threat to children is, as it always was, ignorance, lies. Because they will grow up to find out they've been lied to, and they won't thank you for it. I spoke to a girl yesterday. They tried to rape her to cure her of her homosexuality. She goes to the police as soon as they find she's a lesbian. Go away. The police don't respect her rights.
It's a fairy tale because
she was lying,
gay people, most of them are lying about their problems because most of them would like to be to be favored and famous because they're victims of Russian medieval behavior.
You're living in a fantasy world.
The problem is that she became lesbian not because her genetic defect, not because her mutation.
You really ought to stop because you're making a great fool of yourself on camera. This is going to be shown around the world, and if people hear you speaking like this, they're going to think so little of Russia. They're going to think, is this man actually allowed to use the street and the telephone, let alone be a politician?
These values that you're proclaiming as a modern and tolerant is a values that were created from the first hour of having this world, when the most talented angel felt because he thought that he is greater than God.
Right.
You know?
You're really not making any sense, Deputy. You really aren't. Half a politician, half a semi-educated religious person. I mean, whom do you represent? I'm not here to attack Russia. I love Russia, and it's better than you are.
In your generation, the number of homosexual people were much less.
Much
less.
How do you know this? How do you know it?
Because I know that.
Tell me how you know it.
Scientific figures.
Published by whom?
Published by scientists.
Name them. Where will I find these figures? I mean, I'm not going on and on and on about all the dreadful things you've said. Say what you like, but don't make it a law that causes people to commit suicide. You have more young Russians killing themselves in this land of sacred parents. It's because the liberals make them commit suicide.
Yes.
I just don't know how you sleep at night.
I can sleep after I pray.
Anyway, I have to go and speak to these nice people out here.
I fear I've failed to sway Milanov, but it seems a shame to waste the media attention when others out there might see sense on this issue.
I think everything should just calm down about this. It's not a big issue. All it's about is tolerance and acceptance. And it may be that most Russians, if asked in a poll, would say they disapproved of homosexuality, they didn't think it was traditional Russian. Well, fine. But there are so many other things for the world to worry about. Concentrating on making gay people a kind of scapegoat, like the Jews were in the 1930s, seems to me a very dangerous sign. I do wish every lonely teenager out there, I wish them all the love in the world, because it's the richer the group of young people who are unusual you have in a country, then the greater the culture. So thank you all very much. Sorry, bye-bye. Yeah, thank you. It was like trying to nail a jelly to the wall, to be honest, just to try and get him to express his point of view. Maybe he felt the same about me. It's clear he doesn't like anything that he considers liberal. It's the biggest insult in the world. He didn't understand my point of view. It might be arrogant of me to say so, but I think I understood his, but just didn't feel it was a point of view that should be enshrined into statute. I'm not trying to interfere with the traditions of... I mean, that's the word you come across all the time, the tradition. But it's just, the tradition is what? Torture, inquisition, illiteracy, disease. Those are traditions, if you want to go back 400 years. The other tradition is progress. It's trying to get things right, slowly, painfully, often making mistakes, but with the best will that you can muster.
Some of the mistakes that us Brits have made in the name of progress can take centuries to undo. India is on its way to becoming a global superpower and is shaking off the last vestiges of 200 years of British rule. It's recently overturned the Victorian law that criminalized homosexuality, and now, embracing its Hindu traditions, is forging its own way forward with respect to gay rights.
I've come to India because around the world, the experience of being gay can be looked at in tyrannical countries, it can be looked at in democracies, it can be looked at in countries that are going through transition. But India is the largest democracy in the world and is so notable for its incredible insistence on family. I wonder how much gay life even exists here because the culture is so different.
I've been invited to meet the Iyer family, whose 33-year-old son Harish is one of the first to speak openly about being gay in India.
Hello. How are you? Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. I'm Stephen.
He's my father, and that's
hello.
my professor.
Oh, hello. Hello.
And this is my grandmom. Hello, and this is my mother. This is my mother.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, nice
to meet you. Lovely to meet you.
Gay men usually end up living with their families because in an Indian culture, you end up looking after your parents.
Does that make it difficult for you to have a relationship? Because you can't bring a partner home, can you?
Now I can.
Yeah.
My grandmom is pretty conservative though. She was okay with me getting a partner home, but she wanted the partner to not be a Christian, to not be a Muslim, to be a Brahmin.
Right, so you're high caste.
So yeah, it's absolutely fine for her. It didn't really matter to her whether it was a boy or it was a girl.
That's very, very interesting. Can you remember when Harish told you that he was gay?
Yeah, a little bit it was a shock. He's a family man as such. He loves family, he loves people around him. In fact, he wanted to get married and have children. He is very fond of children. So that made me a bit sad.
How are you with your neighbors and everyone else today? Was it
like I don't go broadcasting that my son is gay. But at the same time, when they ask me... Yeah,
yes, literally broadcasting on television. Your neighbors must know. You think? But they just don't talk about it?
They don't, as far. To me, they haven't spoken so far,
but
except one or two.
Yeah. And you're comfortable with your sons?
Yeah, of course.
No problem, yeah.
Because it has become, we cannot avoid it now.
That's true. The most important thing you would think like a parent is for him to be happy.
We want him to be happy, that's all.
Yeah.
That's a thing that people have in India. In the end, he's happy this way. My mother accepts. My father, he's not accepting per se, but he doesn't mind my sexuality. Yeah. So I feel both, in a way, is very important.
The family is absolutely central to the nature of India and the identity of it as a country. Everything is expressible through the family and understandable only through understanding the family. And so to see a gay man living with his family, not having been rejected by them, not having been shown the door, but being accepted, is really impressive. And I think it shows that everything's come a long way. It's rather terrific. See the remnants of the old Raj still, even in a city like Bombay. And in fact, the sexuality laws of India were also dominated by the Raj right up until 2009, when the coat... It's rather bizarre, actually. I think I've just seen that is a rainbow flag. I don't know if it means the same here. That can't be. It says to closet. Hang on. Hi, hello. Are you a gay shop?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. I'm Stephen.
I'm in there.
Hello, hello.
That's myself.
Hi, I'm Sonia. Nice to meet you. It's like Soho in London.
Yes, it's like London.
This is fantastic. You successful?
Yes, yes. Have a look around.
I will do. Thank you. Oh, yes, all the really good gay stuff. Are you here as a customer?
Yeah.
Are you gay then?
Yes, I'm queer.
And just girls? You lesbian or you?
I'm bisexual,
you are...
but I have a partner right now.
A male partner or a female?
A female partner.
Right.
In some sense, I mean, it does feel very alien, this concept of being, I mean, identifying as for my sexuality. Our culture, we have a lot of stress on marriage.
Yes.
And men can afford to not get married, or, you know, somehow the stress on marriage is slightly lesser, not entirely, but on women the stress for marriage is a lot. Women can't really speak about their sexuality as openly. So as a woman, having to not only say that I'm bisexual, queer as well as bisexual, means that in some sense I'm implying that, you know, I have these desires. And speaking about desire itself in India is a little, you know.
And yet the weird thing is, it was the British who brought in the law that said being gay was a crime. I didn't know they used the word gay, they used unnatural buggery, or whatever the word they used, sodomy or something. So the idea that it's not natural to India was never put into laws before the British, before the Raj.
Actually, India has a culture, I mean, for people who actually study it, which was very inclusive. Even the Kama Sutra really speaks about gay sex as well. But people don't want to really, you know, see that. It's very funny, because they don't realize they are following the British in some sense.
Just before you leave, I want to give you thank you for dropping into my store. You look very nice in this, by the way.
Really, thank you. You're so kind. This is just the right size, I have to confess. There you are. I'll take you on the train. I'll give you a gay hug. Friendly hug. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
जहाँ तेरी ये नजर है मेरी जान मुझे खबर है जहाँ तेरी ये नजर है मेरी जान मुझे
While Mumbai's fledgling gay culture shows promise, part of the LGBT community has thrived here for centuries. The Hijras are India's ancient male-to-female transgender community. They were once celebrated in Indian society and believed to have a connection with the gods. Some even held prominent positions in royal households and government. But then the British arrived and ostracized them. Today, the Hijras live in slums where many scrape a living in sex work and have been hit hard by the AIDS virus. But accessing proper health care has been difficult because the government is only beginning to recognize their gender identity. Shunned by society, they've relied on each other, and I've been invited to meet Gauri, who's opened her home as a respite center.
Hello. You must be Gauri. What's that for me?
Oh, that is for welcome. It is very traditional to welcome.
How lovely.
So you're the
Thank
guest
you.
for my house. So all queens just want to welcome. Done now. Please come.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, this is gorgeous.
So this is our community center.
Yeah.
Where we work with Hijras. They can stay for 3-4 days over here. And once they get okay, they can go back to the place.
And I understand there's a particular problem with the Hijras is that they're now more rejected than they have ever been, partly because of the high infection rates. I've read that it's as much as 49%.
Yes, it's 49%.
Amazing. But there's nothing you can do about the fact that society has changed so much since the early days, the very early days of Hijras, which was much more open and frank about sex, joyful about sex.
I totally agree with you, because what happened when the British came, and they don't want it, because see, in Bible they have written that anal sex is not, you know, natural.
Yeah.
But I say it is a natural.
Yeah.
I never feel to sleep with a woman. I say yak. I'm born a queen.
Yeah.
I'm born as a Hijri, and I love to be what I am. And who the hell the God will decide? This is my anal.
So you set your heart on actually having the surgery to complete gender reassignation. It used to be pretty
They used to just
tough.
cut it.
Yeah.
No anesthesia, nothing else, and the daima used to just cut it.
Oh my goodness. But now it is different because you can have it properly done.
No,
anesthetically.
see, I will tell you. Now, still in India, people won't afford, my queens won't afford, so they go to quack doctor and they do this castration. So it's quite painful, so sometimes they cut the urethra.
Oh my goodness.
So they don't know, so you can't control your urine.
Oh, that's awful. Yes.
So, but see, the desires, I just want to remove it. I just want to remove it.
There is a procedure called vaginoplasty as well, isn't there, where you can actually replace what was the penis with a sort of...
It's very costly. You see, it is not to go and just sit in your...
You've not undergone this.
I have gone
you
for
have?
vaginoplasty.
Yeah.
I just wanted to leave my vagina.
So
And
you-
I will tell you the funny thing, when my operation did it, and then sister came and she said, your operation is done. So I say, that is proper now. You have made proper now. She said, what a question of proper? Because age of 25 years, I have never seen a vagina.
It's your first, the first one you ever saw was your own.
And I first pussy, and I never seen other pussy. And we just asked sister, and it was quite funny. She asked sister, can you show you? She said, no. Look at yours. She gave me a mirror.
She wouldn't let you see
she was
hers.
very open and friendly like that. And I saw the mirror and said, Yuck, what you have done? See, I'm not ashamed at what I have done with myself.
No,
I'm very much proud.
Yeah.
Because I have not cheated any woman. I have not cheated myself. But then also, I don't have got to come and stand in front of my dad. Ki, look, your son. Now, after 20 years, I don't know. I know that he won't never accept me. They will never. I know that. We are alone. Means once we have leave the family, biological family, we again here come and we made a family.
When you've been thrown out of your own family, the next best thing is to make your family yourself.
These are my family. If
Yeah,
you see,
exactly.
look at the
You have a
Julie.
family.
Julie's just 19 years.
Really? Oh,
She's just 19 years, and before 5 months, she have castrated.
yeah.
If any hijra will walk on the street, anyone will come, hi, hello, darling, how are you? Hey, why are you free in the night? Hey, look, nice boobs, and they will just tease you and go. Because they know if I will tease any hijra, no one will ask me. We are the puppets on the street. Anyone will come and just ditch you and go.
Bye,
love
ladies.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
चले? झूठा.
It's upsetting to hear how rejected the hijras have become. But it's made me realize that even amongst my own gay community back home, transgenders are often the least accepted and understood. As India's gay community gets organized, it's showing signs of reaching out to its more vulnerable members, and there could be a lesson in that for all of us.
Hey, I'd like to see you. You are?
I'm Pallav.
You are Pallav. Lovely to meet you. So this is where the Hamsafar Trust
That's right.
has
That's
its home.
right. This is the reception area of the Hamsafar Trust, where we receive people who come in for HIV testing or receiving services.
Avina Aher is trying to offer an alternative to sex work for her community and has set up the country's first transgender dance troupe, the Dancing Queens.
30% of transgenders are actually literate. They're at least literate till graduation, under graduation, but none of them been given an opportunity. Henceforth, they get into a sex trade. Nobody wants a transgender in their neighborhood. But this is how society is. This is how society is.
People will make
And
these
which is very funny because you worship Lord Shiva, which is in form Ardhanari Nateshwara, which is a combination half body of a man and half body of a woman, but you are not willing to accept a transgender in a society. When you talk about hijras, people always presume that they belong to a lower class of society. None of them have an employment. None of them have a dignity of living. And on top of that, we are trying to impose our moral values on them. So they should not be doing a commercial sex work. But I mean, they do not have an option.
No, it's terrible, isn't it?
It is all about giving that first chance to the community.
Absolutely. And it will happen, I'm sure. It'll be too slow for anybody's patience, but it will happen.
Before I bid a fond farewell to India, I've been invited to say a few words at a club popular on Mumbai's up-and-coming gay scene.
Whoa! Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I am here because it's part of a documentary I'm making about being gay around the world. Now, what, you may think, have I concluded about India? What am I taking away tonight, in fact, which is my flight back home, sadly? I shall carry you in my heart forever. That's all right. You are such an easy lay. It's a very extraordinary thing. Everybody has told me how important family is, how extraordinarily important, how difficult it is to come out, not because your parents are actually disgusted by homosexuality, but because they're slightly embarrassed about what they're going to tell Mrs. Patel next door. But once they get over that, they're more interested that if you're going to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that they're a doctor or they've got a really good job. And if they have, then it's fine. And I have to tell you, that is the most balanced and sane response that I've come across. It seems apparent to me that this is one of the most comfortable countries in which to be gay. Especially, of course, and this is your duty, especially if you are educated, English-speaking, middle-class. Let's be honest, it's easier for you than it is for the hijra in the slum. And therefore, I should imagine that you are all as excited in the years to come in pushing that out into the suburbs, into the rural areas, to make it really count. Wouldn't that be exciting? I think so.
In the 2.5 years I've been making this series, the gay issue has continued to be debated at home.
Many years ago, I had the great good fortune to meet someone. She and I have loved each other ever since.
Weakens what exists and replaces it with a less good option.
It is as foolish to condemn those who have homosexual proclivities as it is to condemn them for having red hair. And I have lived with that all my life.
And now, one of the most dramatic steps ever taken for gay equality has come to pass.
Well, it's wonderful to come back to a Britain where we are celebrating the news that a House of Commons and even a House of Lords has passed into law a gay marriage bill, which could soon be enacted such that people really will be able to marry people of their own gender. That's not that anyone would have me, but it's still fantastic news. But it's not enough for laws to change, of course, attitudes have to change. It was here, after all, in Trafalgar Square itself, the very centre of London, you would have thought one of the safest cities in which to be gay in the world, where Ian Bainham, only a few years ago, was savagely kicked to death. So homophobia is still a world problem. Homosexuality isn't and never has been. Homosexuals are not interested in making other people homosexual. Homophobics are interested in making other people homophobic. I think we just have to take stock of ourselves very honestly and independently, and simply to love. It's really that simple. It's all about love.
There are people who are so rabidly homophobic, and I just find that fascinating. It's as if you met someone who was absolutely spent all their life trying to get rid of red telephones. You go, what? You would not understand it. Why would someone bother to attack a group of people who mean and do them no harm?
This is a series about gay people and the trouble people have accepting them.
I'm good, how do you do?
Over the last 2 years, when time allowed, I travelled to meet some of the most notorious homophobes on the planet.
Signor Deputado, Stephen Fry.
To challenge their prejudice and to find out where their hatred comes from.
gay people, most of them are lying about their problems.
You're really not making any sense, Deputy. You really aren't. Homosexuality is fantastic. You should try it.
I will arrest you. I will arrest you.
But when your penis is terrorizing
my
someone...
penis isn't. My penis doesn't do that.
I also had a chance to meet some of the people who are victims of this prejudice, as well as those fighting against it.
I never feel to sleep with a woman. It's a yuck. I'm born a queen.
Só que eu nunca imaginei que o não vir do meu filho para casa, que ele estivesse morto.
Of course, this matters to me because I'm gay. But homophobia impacts on all of us. It diminishes our humanity, and you can find it all around the world.
Do you think we've arrived now here in the UK in terms of gay rights?
In legal terms, I think we have, but it's not a question just of laws. It's a question of the outlook of the broader society. Part of me wishes to bury myself on a blanket and let someone else do any cheerleading for good causes. You know, it's nice to think one can just let the world get on with it, and it's certainly not my job to push things down people's throat, which is always the good gay joke people make. One can't stand by and see injustice, you know. If there's another horrible case of a child hanging themselves because they're being tormented, then you have to speak out and hope things get better. Because there's certain things you can't control, but there are other things where, you know, just quietly pushing on the door, you can make a difference, or pecking on the wood, you can eventually drill a hole.
It's incredible how much has changed for gay people in Britain in my lifetime. It's only been legal for me to be gay since 1967.
Those homophobes are wrong. You can have Adam and Steve. It's Andy and Steve. Don't you think you're Andy?
But even though gays are no longer criminals, and we have more rights than ever before, there are still some of you out there who will think that what you're about to see is wrong.
You nervous?
Yeah.
Very, really. Yeah. Some people would say, well, you know, the point about gay people is they're bohemian, they're outside the normal world of families and all that sort of thing. So why would you feel the need to seal your relationship in a civil bond like this?
It's just a natural thing for us to do, isn't it? It's the way we've been brought up. I feel what we have is what I've been shown what love is and what a marriage is from my parents. They treated each other with respect. They were partners, and that's what we are. We just happen to be two men.
All straightforward? Yeah. Good. Excellent. Deep breath, lower the shoulders, smile and enjoy.
While England and Wales were slightly ahead of the game, being gay was a crime in Scotland until 1980, 1982 in Northern Ireland. The World Health Organization regarded being gay as a mental illness till 1992.
Everybody believes they live in a lifetime of extraordinary change, but I feel I've got more reason to think it than most. The idea of the seedy, dirty, filthy queer was firmly entrenched in one's mind as one grew up. And as soon as I realised that that's what I was, which was very early, I think, it was naturally a sense of foreboding with which I anticipated adulthood.
Is there anyone present who knows of any lawful reason why Andrew and Stephen may not form their civil partnership this afternoon? Splendid!
To go from that situation to this amazing day like today, where you see a gay couple getting a civil partnership with the full blessing of the law and the charm and warmth of the registrars and the easygoing nature of the entire event. And that's a very profound thing, I think.
I give you this ring.
I give you this ring.
As a token of my love.
As a token of my love.
And a sign of the promises.
And a sign of the promises.
I make to you today.
I make to you today.
Oh, yeah, I can't help it. When you see this sort of ceremony, you see the hundreds of years of prejudice and hatred that went before, and it's just you cry with happiness, really. Yes, I always cry at weddings anyway, and you just realise how far we've travelled, and it's incredibly touching. It makes one very proud to live in a time when this is finally possible. It seems to be that the world is going in two directions at once. The enemies of enlightened thinking, open thinking, free action, free thought are many. And gay people, you know, we should certainly celebrate days like today, but we should be aware, we should be cautious, we should always be on our guard. You know, that somebody out there hates us.
The fear that people hate us makes coming out difficult. For me, as a teenager in the 1970s, it was a terrifying prospect because there was still so much shame attached to being gay. But then, in '76, something inspiring happened. One of the most famous and successful pop stars on the planet risked it all by going public and saying, "There's nothing wrong with going to bed with someone of your own sex." It was a game-changing moment for me and countless other gay teens who had locked ourselves away in the closet.
Well,
hello. Hello. Très bien.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Wonderful to see you.
Come in.
Thank
Come
you.
in.
Thank you.
Come on, you.
How early on did you realise you were not as other girls, as I like to put it?
It took quite a while. I mean, I grew up in the 50s when nobody talked about sex. And the first time I had sex was when I was 23.
Really?
With anybody.
Yeah.
And it was a man. The thing was, I thought everybody in the industry knew. And you know, when it came out and it was the cover issue of Rolling Stone, it really didn't hurt my career that much at all.
No.
People burnt my records.
But I think you still
but it wasn't really, there was no seismic shift.
And so you were mutually drawn as well. Did you have a boyfriend at the time? Had you had a boyfriend?
No, Elton is my first real relationship. The first 6 months, we took it very slowly and very carefully. I mean, I had to come out to my family, because I wasn't out to my family. I had to go home at Christmas and say, I'm gay and I'm in a relationship with Elton John, which is coming out like a Exocet missile.
That's the first cheat. One of the second. The relationship was blossoming until the point that civil marriages became, or civil partnerships, I should say, became possible, and you were the first notable couple to have
We did it
one.
on the first day that we could,
Yeah.
on the 21st of December. We did it really to make a political statement, but the actual service and the actual occasion was so moving that it really changed our relationship.
And we did it for symbolic reasons and then had this tremendous sense of contentment afterwards. And now that we've taken on the responsibility of raising a child together, I couldn't feel any closer to Elton than I feel right now.
There are those in the public eye who have said that, you know, a true family should be a man and a woman and a child, as in the usual conventional way.
That I don't agree with at all.
No.
You can't get everyone on your side, and we don't need, you know, we just want to be good parents and prove people wrong. And I think we will, but I mean, you can't stop that kind of stuff.
That's right.
It's all about equality.
Yeah.
I think everybody in life deserves to be treated equally, regardless of who they are, what they are, who they love, where they come from, age, color, sexuality, sex.
Yeah. And indeed, I would say with absolute assurance that there are, in Britain alone, many, many, many gay couples and gay individuals who feel probably validated by your status for all kinds of reasons, the dignity, the obvious authenticity, and the fact that you speak out, both of you, has done a lot for individuals. While Elton and David have done much to encourage a change in attitudes towards gay people here, I'm keen to know more about what it means to be gay elsewhere in the world. Today, 40 years on from the very first Gay Pride March in Britain, London is hosting World Pride. And the gay community here has joined forces with gay men and women from all around the planet to show that the fight for gay equality is now a global one.
Here we are on the corner of Baker Street and Oxford Street. taken over by a group of people whose rights have advanced enormously over the past 40 years since this began. But we must never forget, rights can be taken away as easily as they can be given. And there are people out there who are filled with hate for who we are. And we have to be out there and show them that we're proud of who we are, and that's why it's called Pride. You look superb.
Thank you very much.
You must envy my body enormously.
I do, incredibly.
Yeah.
In fact, I always want to touch you.
All right.
Thank you, have a great
Pleasure,
day.
and you too. So have you come all the way from Sri Lanka to be here?
That's right. Yeah, from a country that criminalizes us for being gay, with 12 years in jail.
12 years in jail.
And we are living with the remnants of British laws that have not been taken away from us. Laws criminalizing homosexuality never existed around the world until the British imposed it on them.
Yes.
Right?
Please take back what you gave us. We don't want it anymore.
Yes.
We don't want it anymore.
Of the 84 countries that still criminalise homosexuality, roughly half are ex-British colonies using old British laws, though none of these are among the 5 that currently put gay people to death.
This is Iran, and there's some boys being hanged by the neck till dead in the usual way. It's a sort of mass hanging, again, for the crime of apparently having slept with each other. It's just the supreme expression of homophobia. If anti-Semitism can lead to Auschwitz, homophobia leads to this. The sheer... Although it sounds like political correctness, moaning about playground taunting and saying that it's important that we show respect. This is why. Because if you let words and insults go by unchallenged, if you don't allow the dignity of gay people, then slowly those will be given freer and freer rein to do what they wish. I don't know what I can do. I can't go to Iran. The BBC have advised it would not be safe or sensible for me to do so. We wanted to film in Turkey, actually, where we heard of a couple of Iranians who had taken refuge there. But even Turkey, which is more or less a democracy, denied us the right to film. They said, why would you want to film about homosexuality? What a peculiar subject. So instead, I'm going to talk to someone who comes from Iran and is here seeking asylum, terrified of going back home, where he may well be killed.
Three such hangings are reported to have taken place in the last year. But it's almost impossible to find anyone brave enough to talk about being gay in Iran. Farshad has agreed to meet me to tell his story of how loving someone could have cost him his life.
I had a boyfriend, but his father was very horrible man, and we had a relationship for 4 years, and his father claimed to court that I raped to his son. My boyfriend, if he said it wasn't rape, he will be guilty.
I see, because then he would admit that he had been...
And so he said yes, it was rape.
So that's when you escaped. And you miss him still?
A lot. He's fine at the moment. He has to stay in home all the time, and his father locked the door, and he can't leave the home. And his father say he has to marry with some girl.
But there's no chance of him escaping Iran, coming to join you in England? Oh, that's terrible. And you've been here for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And has the Home Office granted you asylum as a refugee?
When my caseworker asked me about my case, They don't believe me that I'm gay, and they told me if you are gay, you need good evidence that you are gay.
That's a bizarre state of affairs, because they must recognize that if you went back to Iran, your life would be in danger, or certainly your liberty.
If they want to turn back to Iran, there is no any way. Just I'm thinking about suicide, and I will kill myself because it's better than hang up.
Yes.
Even I choose this way.
Quite.
Even
It's
I
your
choose.
choice.
Yeah. It's my choice.
If the British government sent you back to Iran and the worst happened and you were hanged, it would be a crime that would be on the head of everyone in my countrymen, and it would shame me. You can be aware of the wider politics, the theology. It's only when you meet someone who is a victim of those extraordinarily skewed moralities and the cruelty and barbarity of the system that's in place in Iran that it touches you truly deeply. I think Fashad is an extremely brave man to talk to me on camera about his experience. It's the most idiotic, the most ironic, the most stupid human quality you can have, that love is the thing that tears people from their homeland, from their families, threatens their lives, makes them outcasts from their own people. Love, the greatest force we have, the thing that will mend us all in the end. It's criminal. It's very, very upsetting indeed.
For me, it's not enough that my country might offer sanctuary to gay people persecuted by their own governments. I'd like to talk to some of these tyrants, to hear how they try to justify themselves and their prejudices. I'm starting in Uganda, a country that seems to be going backwards in its treatment of gay people. Since 2009, its government has been considering passing a new law which proposes a death penalty for homosexuals. It's ignited a wave of anti-gay feeling and made homosexuality a hot topic here. I've been invited by Kampala's most popular radio breakfast show host to debate the issue.
Stephen Fry here to see Fat Boy. Fat Boy?
Fat Boy.
Fat Boy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hi, morning, Shanice.
I'm Janice. Lovely to meet you.
It's Fry.
Yes.
How are you?
And I can't deny I'm feeling a bit nervous about meeting my opponent in the debate, who'd probably prefer if me and my kind were behind bars.
Welcome to Sanyu Breakfast, Stephen Fry.
Thank you, Fat Boy. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah. Also joining us, we're joined by Pastor Solomon Male of Arising for Christ Ministries. He almost needs no introduction. You know him. He's out there very aggressively fighting against the many evils that plague our society. Is that correct?
True. In a climate where the size of a church congregation equates to its wealth and power, taking a harsh and even graphic view on homosexuality is a surefire way to appear relevant.
Let me start by being very, very clear. Each and every people deserve to be permitted to pursue their destiny. Unfortunately, when we got independence, we somehow along the way lost our values. But if someone is truly traditional, like for instance a man marrying a woman, and a woman getting married to a man, and sexual intercourse, the values of good character, where you are honest, where you can be trusted.
Let's not pretend those values came from missionaries in wearing black coats who arrived all the way from Britain and from France and from America, and they brought you a Bible.
Even before they came,
nothing
we
to
had
do with your
values
culture.
as Waganda.
As all peoples do, we all have those values, and gay people have them too.
I've come out to tell my brothers, my sisters, my children, what you are indulging in is hurting your life. I've counseled victims who have urinary tract infections, those who have had their penises operated. I've had those who have been condemned, their bowels are condemned, like this young man here. He has been condemned.
I've never heard of any of these preposterous physical prolapses you've spoken about. They just don't exist. That is the funniest headline I have ever seen.
Right, Jen.
I will have to read it out. How bum-shafting shattered my whopper.
Where would a man like this one get
you don't need to go into details.
Get a spare penis. Get a spare rectum and anus.
When we get back, we'll be taking
We
your
love
phone
them more
calls.
than
Pastor
these
Male,
people do.
we have to take a break. When we get back, we'll be taking phone calls. Stay tuned. Let's not discuss anatomy.
Sorry, okay.
But for me, that's why I came out.
So we
Yeah,
compromise
they don't
somewhere
have their
in the
license
middle.
closed down.
Well, we're having a good time. My name is Fatbo here with Sean. Hoping you're enjoying the conversation we're having this morning.
Well, so how did you think that went?
To me, it was fine.
Yeah.
Nothing bad is talked about homosexuality. Very little. But the bulk of it talks about erotic experience, when you indulge in anal sex. But when you start talking to them, you hear very, very sad, painful stories. Young girls who have had what I call urinary incontinence.
Yes.
Bladders have been damaged because they use all sorts of gadgets, including dildos, including carrots. And look at the penis penetrating the anus, where it was never meant to penetrate.
But why are you concentrating on homosexuals there? Because most sodomy, most anal intercourse takes place between men and women.
It doesn't matter.
So
Homosexuality is not a person. It is the act. There's nothing like someone was born a gay, someone was born a lesbian.
But I was born
You were
different.
born with a penis.
Yes.
And a woman is born with a vagina.
Yes.
The penis is supposed to penetrate the vagina, not the anus.
So you say?
It's simply perversion
I
and
don't know why you're
foolishness.
obsessed with anuses. I'm not
No,
interested in anuses.
no. I am telling you, fry. Eh?
But you're obsessed with
You see,
anuses.
when
I'm
you
not
say
interested
that-
in anuses. I'm interested in men I fall in love with.
When
and
you
not
say-
with anuses. Can't you understand?
No,
It's about love.
No.
You are so
It's
base and
not
materialistic.
love. But when your
It
penis
love.
is sterilizing
my
someone-
penis isn't. My penis doesn't do that.
Rupturing
I'm
the
not
anus.
interested in sodomy and buggery. I am not interested.
No.
So forget about it.
Fry.
You're just
Fry.
so perverted.
Fry.
All you care about is penises and vaginas and anuses.
Can you listen
You're
to me?
so sick.
Can you listen to me?
I have been, and it's been
You
a
say you
real
were born
lesson.
gay.
Yeah.
You say you were born.
Yeah.
Were you able to recognize that on the day you were born?
Of course I didn't. That's a joke.
Now, why are you lying that you were born gay?
I wasn't. Oh,
When did you first have homosexuality intercourse?
I've never had it.
In your life?
Never.
You've
Most
never?
gays don't. You're obsessed with it. That's what I keep telling you. All you can think of is anal sex.
So you've
I'm not
never,
interested in it.
Wait. You've never had a partner?
Yes. But we use fellatio and mutual masturbation and intercrural sex, such as the Greeks did, but not penetrating the arsehole.
No, but-
You're the one who's obsessed with penetrating the arsehole.
No.
Your obsession with sodomy, it says something very peculiar about you, if I may say so. It's quite extraordinary.
No, but...
the most peculiar thing.
You are not using your penis the way you should have used it.
Oh, it's not up to you to tell me how to use
And
my
third-
penis. My penis was there to give me pleasure.
And
Under the
mate-
cloak of caring, you have designated homosexuality to be a vicious, perverted disease that causes all kinds of bizarre anal and vaginal and penile...
No.
You know, you have this all
Homosexuality
you've
is not a
discussed about.
disease.
Well,
It's
no.
not a disease.
Well,
it's an addiction. There's a difference between a disease.
Okay.
You learn it and then you get addicted to it. I know what these people do.
These people.
I know what these people do. They are the homosexuals. What they do.
Oh, you are so...
Marley's attitude towards gay people makes the prospect of a law that would execute us chillingly real. But it's reassuring to find that some Ugandans have a different take on the issue.
You were very hostile, Pastor.
No.
Well, fat boy. I don't know how you
Wow.
thought that went.
How did that go?
Interesting, I think is the word. You must, I'm assuming, know some gay people.
I know many.
Yeah.
My own position, Steve, is actually that I want the bill to pass.
It's because it's so ridiculous, you mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it's going to achieve the opposite effect. You see, if it ever were to pass, it would simply be unenforceable. If it were ever brought before the courts, chances are it would be challenged and the law would be at high risk of being repealed even.
Yes.
And so I actually want it to pass for
That's
that
a very
reason.
good thinking. I like that. I like that.
And they'll have to contend with the fact that, okay, no matter what legal measures we take, it looks like these people will always be here.
Yeah.
And most people are just going to be like, okay, you know what, let's just move on. There's other things to think about in life.
Well, it's wonderful to talk to you and get us some clear light on this. What you've told me has taken the slightly sour taste out of my mouth. Dear Pastor Male. It would be easy to write off Marley as some sort of fanatic, but preaching that homosexuality is a curable dysfunction has dangerous consequences. I'm on my way to meet Stosh Mugisha, a lesbian who was raped when she was just 14 by a farmhand who believed that this would cure her. It's a phenomenon known as corrective rape, and it's affecting lesbians all across Africa. Stosh is one of the few brave enough to share her story.
There was a man who used to work at home driving tractors. He would find me touching girls' pussies and all that. He said, I want to show you how to play with boys. And then this guy grabs me, I was putting on shorts, and he tore it and he penetrated me with his penis. And it didn't take long. This guy just got out of me and I was bleeding. I just cried and this guy kept telling me, that's how you have to play with boys and all that. I was sad and I don't know what happened later, but I found myself sleeping and crying in my sleep. When my grandmom came around, I told her Saddam forced me, he was called Saddam, forced his penis into me. He's like, but you always play with them football. Man, you chose to. And they left it just like that. It even got worse later when they discovered I was pregnant.
So this one single rape made you pregnant?
Yes. I didn't even know the word rape by then.
Really?
They took me to the hospital, they injected me.
So they forced an abortion?
Yes, 1996. Went for a checkup and I found I was positive with HIV and AIDS.
And this was the only sexual act that could have possibly, the only thing that could have given it to you was that this single, brief, hideous rape when you were a young girl of 14.
Yeah. You know, I had nothing, I had no say. I couldn't say anything, I couldn't. But it kept, you know, like hurting me, you know, like these people really think that I could just lie there. I had never met a man. I'd never slept with a man. I'm sorry.
No, please don't be sorry.
I'm telling you the truth, I tried so hard to commit suicide.
I'm not surprised.
Because there are very, very many things I weren't aware of. Yeah. But I knew that someone can kill themselves.
Your life encapsulates almost every detail of the gay experience in Uganda. But you are a shining example and an amazing inspiration, and I hope anybody watching this will be as taken with you and as fond of you as I've become very quickly. How traumatized would a child be to be raped in order to cure them of their inner feelings, which is just insane, makes no sense whatsoever. And in that act, impregnates her with a child and with HIV. It's almost beyond the realms of the gloomiest fiction you could imagine. To meet someone who can live through it is really extraordinary. This is where the grotesque figures like Pastor Marley stop being funny, because it's their rhetoric that builds up to this kind of thing. It really is. Right now, HIV rates are soaring all across Uganda, but the mind-boggling thing about the proposed anti-homosexuality bill is that gay people are now afraid to ask for treatment. A gay support group called Icebreakers has had to step into the breach and open a clinic. But in doing so, it's attracted the wrath of a senior government minister who's behaving as if the bill is already law.
The Minister for Ethics and Integrity, that's Ethics and Integrity, Simon Lokodo, said he intends investigating the clinic for promoting homosexuality. If we find out that it's the clinic relating to promoting the culture which doesn't conform to our morals as a country, we shall instantly ban and close it, he told IRN Plus News. These people, LGBTI, are doing their operations undercover. It's not easy to track them. However, we shall not allow any social gathering, association, infrastructure, or any activities that exist to promote homosexuality, he said. It seems such a pity.
Lokodo's agreed to meet me before I leave Uganda, and I'll be keen to challenge him about his behaviour, including his threat to jail people who don't report gays to the authorities. In this sort of climate, it's little wonder that Icebreaker's whereabouts is a closely guarded secret.
There they are. Do you see them with the suits?
Yeah.
Here. Turn right in here.
Turn right here, that's it. Security clearly matters. Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, how are you? Oh, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So this is your clinic. This is
Icebreakers.
Icebreakers.
This Icebreakers is the research center. It has a clinic and everything all in one gate.
And I noticed you've got this gate and it's secret, basically. You try not to let the government know about it.
No, there's no post. Just everyone thinks it's a home.
So you rely on a network of LGBTI people to inform each other that there is this place if they want rapid testing or they want advice on sexual health and things like that.
Yes, that's what you do. It's a network. It's kind of underground, but everyone knows exactly where to find us.
The bill, as it stands, you have 24 hours to report somebody being gay, and if you don't, you can have a huge fine or imprisonment. If this got passed into law, you would apparently be breaking the law.
It has become a challenge to us because if they say that it's a law for me to go and report that this one is a homosexual, then that means they have to change our laws.
As a medical practitioner,
exactly,
you've
because
taken
we
an
have
oath.
to keep confidentiality of each and every one.
I was reading a quotation from Lokodo, the Minister of Integrity and Ethics, in big inverted commas, and he said that he had heard of you and that he thought that you were there to promote homosexuality and his intention was to close you down.
Yeah, we don't think they'll really come out because there's nothing illegal we are doing.
No.
But maybe just to prove a point of defiance, they can come and raid us, and we can't resist them because they're more powerful than us. But soon they'll get tired of clapping down on us. We aren't going to stop.
It's fantastically brave.
Yeah, we're just beginning. We won't stop.
While the health aspect of Icebreaker's work has become increasingly crucial, its other function as a safe space for young gay people is now more important than ever.
You feel accepted. It's safe. You can be yourself. You can talk about your relationship, how you feel, and talk about the way we dress.
Yes, yes.
You know, besides what we do with our community of telling them about HIV and all that, we really still come here because we feel safe, we feel accepted here in this environment.
What's so revealing is that the insane homophobic people who drafted this bill are convinced that everywhere is a conspiracy of, erotic orgy. And in fact, what you do is talk about friendship, and feelings, and love, and fashion, and gossip. It's not about sex. I don't know why they're so obsessed with it. They are not ignorant, and they know perfectly well that gay people pose no threat to the children and families of Uganda.
Yeah.
They know perfectly well that gay people don't recruit. So they are deliberately telling lies to make themselves popular and to make their voices loud.
Exactly. It keeps them going.
Yeah.
It keeps their business thriving.
Shameful.
Very
Truly shameful.
I have to admit I'm slightly dreading my meeting with Simon Lokodo, the former Catholic priest who is now Uganda's Minister for Ethics and Integrity and hell-bent on crushing his country's gay community.
Who knows where it'll go. I shall try and be civil.
I'd like to find out how he could possibly support this barbaric bill, but I'm not sure he'll take to explaining himself to a gay Western liberal like me.
How do you do?
I'm good, How do you do?
Thank you. My name is Stephen.
Hello, Stephen.
I come with the BBC.
I want to tell you point blank that there's no way you can impose your attitude to me.
I don't want to. I'm asking questions.
I am a typical Ugandan, and my role and mandate here is to empower Ugandans to uphold moral values and principles. And we don't discriminate. However, we say, please, please. It's already bad that you are in that status. Don't promote, don't recruit, don't encourage others to come into your very unfortunate status.
This is what's unique in Uganda, this extraordinary idea of yours of promotion. I was all my life, I was subjected to indoctrination of how to be heterosexual. It never worked on me. If you're born that way.
What I'm telling you is,
born gay,
why don't you...
or you're born straight,
no,
or just let people be. That's
finish,
integrity.
then you are taking me for one who should come to join you, and therefore
tolerate
I don't want
you to join me. I have no wish for you to
in
join
this
me.
country, anybody who manifests himself a gay must be checked.
I don't want one more homosexual in the world. I just want each one to be treated with love and dignity, not with hatred, not with raids, accusing them of recruiting and accusing them of recruiting children.
What are the values that we get from homosexuality? What value do you get? Unlike from Christianity, love.
Yes.
Love when you destroy your back of your brother.
Destroy the what?
The back of your brother.
The back?
I've got my dear brothers who have come here because their backs are oozing with the pus.
Most sodomy takes place in heterosexual life. It is just
that is in Europe. That is in Europe there. That is in your place.
No, all around the world.
In Africa, never. In Africa, one
There's
will
no
not
rape
miss
in Africa, is there? There are no young girls being raped in Africa. There are thousands of them. So surely heterosexuality is far more dangerous to children than homosexuality. Far more. It's a country where heterosexual rape is almost endemic.
I say, let them do it, but do the
let
right
them
way.
do it.
The right way.
Oh, let them do it the right way. Let them rape children the right way. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying at least it is natural way of desiring
that's
sex.
Okay then. So it's okay to. But for two men who consent to have sex together in private is bad. But it's okay for a man to rape a woman because at least it's the right way.
You are giving two comparisons which don't
saying?
meet. Which those comparisons don't compare at all.
Well, that's what you've said to me. You said let them do it the right
way.
way.
You want, but what I'm telling you is, it is not permissible in Uganda for single-sex relationship. Finished. Right. And if you are advocating that, I'm sorry, I will treat you as a destructor of Uganda's ideology.
Homosexuality is fantastic. You should
no,
try it. It's really good fun.
I will arrest you.
I will arrest you. Having sex with
I am
people.
a lawyer.
I wouldn't want someone who wasn't gay not to have it. But if you are gay, it's wonderful. Thank you. I hope everything goes well for Uganda.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
But surely gays will stay away from us.
Well, that was lively.
He regards my view as an imposition on his country, and in a sense he's absolutely right if he wants to look at it like that. They're not taking a more international cosmopolitan approach in terms of international human rights. I think I'm right. He did wind me up, of course he did, because he's an idiot. You know, this idea that we recruit and promote it is the only one they can use to convince the ignorant that somehow homosexuals are a threat, because there's no other way they are. It's just so dishonest, so wrong.
I'm none the wiser as to what's really behind Lokodo's hatred of gay people. He just kept repeating his mantra about promotion and recruitment as if being gay is something you can talk people into or out of. Perversely, the philosophy that underpins this twisted idea comes from the land that gave birth to gay liberation, and that's where I'm heading now. America is the home of reparative therapy, a therapy that claims it can change people from gay to straight through a series of sessions costing $140 a pop. Its most prominent practitioner, Joseph Nicolosi, is based here in LA, and I wanted to meet one of his patients who had managed to reverse his sexuality.
I was home one weekend and I said, I am, but I don't want to be homosexual.
Yeah. And how did you respond to that, Karen?
My heart broke because I knew his life would be more difficult than I would want for my child.
Yes.
I begged God to make me straight. I would serve him for the rest of my life if he took these homosexual attractions away from me, and it never did anything. So I felt as though I'd been a good Christian and I'd been faithful and that it hadn't worked. So I needed to try something different, and that was reparative therapy. I eventually came upon Dr. Nicolosi's book in my university library and basically sat down and read the whole thing in one sitting.
Yeah. I hadn't heard of Nicolosi. I knew nothing about reparative therapy, but I had such respect for Daniel and who he was that that's what he needed to do. I would support him.
Presumably he's trying to prepare you for a moment when you're walking along the street and there's a guy and he gives you a set of tools to apparently to deal with that.
Yes. You would ask yourself, well, what characteristic of that guy do I find most attractive?
Right.
And you take those characteristics and say, well, what internal faults in myself do those represent?
What you are seeing is a mirror of the things you lack.
Yes.
And for how long did you see him? How many sessions? Was it every couple of years? Or?
From start to finish, it was about a year and a half.
Are you now in a state where you're actually happy with who you are?
Yes. Since then, I've been satisfied with my sexuality.
Well, I'm off to see Dr. Joseph Nicolosi, who is the director, I believe, of the St. Thomas Aquinas Clinic and one of the founding members of NARTH, which is the National Association for Research and Therapy for Homosexuality. He uses the rather confusing phrase, gay people can come out of their homosexuality. They can come out of their coming out. And naturally, I'm not disposed to favour him, but I'm going to let him say what he has to say and listen to it, and I'm not here to have a fight. It's really just to see whether he really thinks there is something scientific underlying his work. Hello. Hi, I'm Stephen Fry from the BBC. I'm here to see Dr. Nicolosi. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi,
Dr.
how are
Nicolosi.
you?
Hello,
Good to meet
Stephen
you.
Fry.
Nice to meet you. Come on in. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Come on in.
What a gorgeous view you have.
Thank
It's
you.
almost
Thank
unbelievable.
You could sit on the right here.
Super.
Okay, here we are.
Well, it's nice to be here.
Good to have you here.
You offer a practice which heals, reverses. I don't know how. I just like to know the vocabulary you prefer to describe the work you
Resolves.
do. Resolves.
We resolve the conflicts that are behind the homosexual attractions.
Right.
That's what we do.
You're pretty much of the opinion, I assume, therefore, that homosexuality is a nurture.
That's right.
Right.
We believe it's based on trauma.
You're really going to have to look hard to find a trauma. It's an accusation of some sort of parental going wrong. Which
That's what we believe. We believe it's about the parents. The boy does not disidentify with the mother and does not bond with the father. We don't believe he was born gay.
If tomorrow a gay gene is discovered, you're going to feel a bit silly, aren't you?
No, I won't feel
You
silly
won't?
at all, because they will still have to explain all the homosexuals that were successfully treated.
Would you say that you have a kind of percentage that you can demonstrate of success-failure rate?
We say a third, a third, a third. A third no change, a third significant improvement, a third cure.
Is there an age at which?
Well, we're getting more and more teenagers, more and more adolescents. I would say about maybe 60% of our clients now are teenagers. Parents call up in a panic because they found out their son is looking at gay porn. And, of course, we have to get him into therapy. The momentum and the enthusiasm of the gay movement sometimes sweeps up young adolescents into that identity when it's premature.
Imagine I'm coming to see you, Joe, to explore the possibility that I might find my inner straight person, if there is such a being.
Sure.
How would you begin? What is the therapeutic process?
Many of these clients are able to trace their traumatic origins back to the father. My father never cared about me. My father never loved me. He never seemed interested in me. I was trying to get the 3 A's: attention, affection, approval. And those emotional needs became sexualized.
The thing that puzzles me, because I can't picture it in myself,
is when you close your eyes and masturbate, what images come into your head? Are you saying you can actually reprogram that? Because
Yes.
that is, it's
Yes.
basically what gives you an erection, what excites you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly the goal of reparative therapy.
Yeah.
We will say to them, for example, have you ever had a heterosexual attraction?
Yes.
Well, when I was 13 years old, there was this little girl at school. Can you feel a little something? Well, good. Triangle of containment. Hold a picture of that girl. Stay with your body. Stay connected to me. Stay with it. I did a telephone session with a 17-year-old boy. He says, I now look at gay porn. I cannot get aroused.
Right.
And I jokingly, I cannot get aroused.
Right.
Right? What? That means the therapy is working.
It's clearly, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I'm also interested in the phenomenon that has become known in the last 20 years or so as metrosexual. And without being the least bit offensive, I would say you fit that rather well. You're very well groomed. You look, I mean, you could easily pass as a gay man, I can say.
Straighten up and fly right.
For all his talk of success, Nicolosi is unable to find one of his ex-gays to talk to us. Dan Gonzalez is actually not one of his success stories, and these days is a confirmed ex-gay.
What's the use of driving?
He and his mother Carol now campaign against the dangers of reparative therapy.
Why don't you blow your top? The birds that told the monkey you would
You take the people that are on the posters for ex-gay programs, and not even they will tell you that they're 100% straight. They give you these bizarre, convoluted answers about how they're how they love women, how they love their wife, but they're not physically attracted to a woman walking down the street. And you get these bizarre answers. That's not heterosexuality. And not to mention damaging. Because every time you feel attracted to someone, that's supposedly a reminder of how you're broken.
And what it doesn't cover, for me and for most gay people I know, ultimately being gay, like any other part of being human, is about love. Was that ever addressed, the nature of love, or was it always just about sexual attraction and how you get rid of that?
It was always just about sexual attraction and how you get rid of that. And I came to the point where I realized there was nothing wrong with it, and that I didn't need to change, and that I couldn't change.
Did that mean also that you had to abandon your faith?
I had to abandon my faith.
Right. Can I ask, on personal matters, have you had a partner, or do you have a partner, and are you happy?
I'm single at the moment, but I have dated and had boyfriends, yes.
Yeah. Nice boys, you like them?
Oh, yes. Daniel has good taste.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. What is your feeling, all told, would you say, Carol, about Dr. Nicolosi and his program?
I think he should be ashamed of himself.
Right. I can see you are angry about it, yeah. Reparative therapy makes the assumption that being gay is a problem for which families are somehow to blame. But for me, this is an argument that just doesn't add up. I have two parents whom I completely adore. My mother is the warmest, loveliest, kindest person in the world. My father is equally wonderful, though I will confess I felt very cold towards me and to my brother, incidentally, when we were young. And I was scared of him. So in that sense, yeah, he's on the money. I had that kind of father, but so did my brother. You know, I mean, it's just not good enough. And I don't think it really matters. I think the point is that if there is a problem, it's with society. Because that is the reason so gay people are afraid to come out. It's the reason the reparative therapy can exist, is because there is a culture or there is a worldview or there is a religious doctrine out there which speaks in a strong voice to condemn. And young people are very vulnerable. And I have no sympathy with gay people who tell a 14-year-old they are gay and they must accept it. But I have no sympathy with one who tells a 14-year-old that they're not gay and they must accept it. It's bad enough being adolescent most of the time than to have interested parties from either group trying to recruit you. I couldn't leave Hollywood without some exploration of how the movie capital of the world deals with homosexuality. We've all heard the rumours about A-list stars hiding in the closet, but would actors really feel the need to do that nowadays?
There's always a big question in people's minds is, if you're a male gay actor and you come out, does it reduce the number of parts you can play? Does it mean you can only suddenly play the camp best friend or some sort of villain? Can you play a romantic lead? Can you have a full career? Is it fair to ask gay actors to have to come out? Are they hypocrites for hiding their sexuality? I don't know. I'd be anxious to find out.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
I think she's got it. Maybe hiding your sexuality is warranted in Hollywood because the audience wants to believe that the romantic lead or action hero is the real straight deal.
Now once again, where does it rain?
On the plain.
I'm on my way to meet a man who helps actors hide the telltale signs of a gay sexuality.
Hello. How are you?
But I'm most curious to know about the psychological impact of a life spent peeking out of the closet.
Well, no, one of the things I know you do, which is fascinating, is that you help actors who feel that their voices are, as it were, perhaps a little too camp, and they feel that's holding them back in terms of the amount of work they can get.
Well, sometimes they come on their own. Sometimes it's a producer. Yeah. Agents, managers, we're not getting the jobs that we think we should get.
Right.
It's just like teaching an accent. It doesn't really change who you are.
No.
If everybody thinks that you're Southern, that means you did a good job. It doesn't mean you're Southern.
Today, Bob is seeing a new client called David Ross, a former member of British boy band Bad Boys Inc., who's now trying to carve a career in Hollywood.
Tell me what you'd like me to help you with.
I think the main thing that I have going on is that I'm constantly self-monitoring, and I really thought that it was to do with my career and being in a band. I used to be in a boy band and was told that, I couldn't act a certain way or talk a certain way.
What did they say? You can't do what?
Oh God, I couldn't walk down certain streets, I couldn't flick my hair a certain way, I couldn't, obviously couldn't talk about certain things.
So tell me what you'd like me to help you with.
Just being so self-conscious. I mean, there's an element of self-consciousness to being an actor and being a performer, but, if I cross my legs, is that too English or is that gay? I mean, I don't know. I can cross my legs like this, or should I cross my legs like this?
Well, what do you think?
I think it should be like this, or I should at least sit like this.
For what? Why would it be better that way?
Just so you seem more straight, which seems ridiculous.
Well, you don't seem particularly effeminate. I don't see a big physical problem. I mean, I know it's easier to say than to do, but I think you need to come to peace.
Yeah, so you're a member of a boy band, you were managed by someone who obviously didn't want you to come out, you had girl fans and you were a huge success. And I think it's the residue of that you've still got with your acting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's what comes with being in the public eye and being in the closet. You just felt fake all the time.
It's fascinating, and I feel very honoured that you've come and been on camera talking about this to us, because that's in what kind of way is coming out.
Yeah. So there's no going back in.
Well, good. Well, then go for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Go for it, because listen, there are gay actors all over town that are working.
While Bob's probably right, I think many of these actors are still choosing to live in the closet. But there is an actor in this town whose coming out could be a sign that things are changing in Hollywood. Neil Patrick Harris now lives an openly gay life with his partner and their surrogate twins. Yet in How I Met Your Mother, he continues to play perhaps the straightest and most prolific womanizer on American television.
Well, Neil, people of my generation remember you very well as a child actor. You played Doogie Howser, MD, this prodigy, which in fact you kind of were a prodigy, because, you sing, you dance, you act. Had you thought through the idea when you did come out that it might affect your career adversely, and that maybe you might not have the full range of roles available for you?
It would be idiotic of me to say that hadn't crossed my mind or was a concern. If you're on a TV show or an action hero in a movie, people with billions of dollars are hoping that it catches on in a way that makes them billions of more dollars.
Exactly.
And so they're cautious, and I get that. So yes, if you're super campy and fey and effete and want to play the football quarterback,
it's not going to happen.
I could see you getting upset that you're not getting cast in those parts, and it's probably because you're gay.
So you, as it were, got away with it being almost a yawn from the public rather than a kind of shock, which must have been a relief, I should imagine.
Very much so. I was anticipating outrage, and in turn I got indifference. And I was like, wait a second, didn't you hear?
So I suppose all eyes are on you in a way because of the fact that you seem to be breaking this image people have that gay actors can't play straights. You've not only done it once, but you've got more films coming out in which you're doing it again. So, you know, are you conscious of this? Do you think you might be changing the world?
At the end of the day, the things that I've currently been in and are about to come out and make a lot of money, then all of a sudden it'll look like I'm this gay actor that can play straight roles, and I'm suddenly that guy. But if one of the movies flops, then all of a sudden it looks like, oh, see?
Yeah.
I like to give people more credit than to think that they're just going to watch me and think about sodomy. I hope I can amuse people more than that.
Let's hope.
But I'm not in control of those kind of things.
Neil's optimism about the movie going public is encouraging, and I guess with his films due for release in the coming year, we'll soon learn if the world's ready for an openly gay actor in the role of a straight leading man. How we react to the films may also tell us something of how society as a whole sees its gay community.
For all its faults, Hollywood is a pretty accurate reflection of the way most of the world is looking. And the fact that they can have actors who are openly gay, openly camply gay, is not something you should thank or congratulate Hollywood for. You thank and congratulate the culture that Hollywood recognizes, accepts things like that. Hollywood is the thermometer that is thrust up the anus of the world's sensibility. Things do move forward. It's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, but in the end it is always progress. People learn.
I want to be a man cub, and stroll right into town and be just like
Next time, I'm in Brazil at the biggest gay celebration in the world. I travel to India, where they're celebrating the end of British colonial laws which criminalized gays. And I'm in Russia, where life for gay people is taking a turn for the worst.
Look at Putin, look at Dobby the house elf, and remember that's all he is, a little house elf.